Also on men and self-discipline. In the latter category, I've noticed that most men lack self-discipline in relation to women and dealing with women. That's a problem because we're designed to be the leaders of society and to take charge in the home. Problem is, you have men who are simps and white knights who are preventing those of us real men from taking charge. And the reason is because they take away a lot of the available women through what I believe is subterfuge, meaning trickery. And it's a war. It's really a war terminology that refers to doing things through devious means and being underhanded. Because simps being men who will do any and everything to gain and maintain the attentions and affections of women that will lead to sex. They end up talking in y'all's ears. I'm talking to the ladies. They talk in your ears and they convince you of how great they are, or they keep you on a string of so-called support by paying your bills, buying you things, taking you out, paying for dinner all the time. And that's supposed to keep you. And they do that simply to keep you, is not to build a family structure. There's nothing wrong with financing a woman on the face of it if she is part of your family. That depends on the family. If y'all decide that that's what you're going to do, then that's what you're going to do. However, simps are doing this outside the scope of family life, and that's the problem. White knights or a white knight, these are men who are really into saving women. Like you can't ever criticize a woman because those are our queens and our goddesses. How dare you speak against them? Stop. If a woman does wrong, she can be criticized and critiqued just like a man who does wrong. Okay? Sin is sin, period, whether it's coming from a man or a woman. Problem is, in the West, specifically the Anglosphere, which is the United States, Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand, these areas and areas that are controlled by those colonial powers, they're all gynocentric, meaning that they center around the ever-changing whims and desires of women. That's a problem because that doesn't build society by itself. You need the feminine energy to balance civilization, yes, but men are the ones who have actually built the tangible structures of society. We do that. We're the ones who go out and hunt. We're the ones who go out and build things physically. We have the most dangerous jobs. We make up most of architects and scientists in general. So we need to have our place as as builders, planners, and designers of civilization. This is what we do. I mean, we've always done that. In most civilizations, that doesn't exclude us from being nurses or cooking or doing things in the service industry, but our dominant role has been in those previous areas that I mentioned. So a man doesn't really have time to be a simp or a white knight. In fact, white knighting takes a lot of energy, and a lot of fights ensue, literally physical fights ensue, because men are always trying to save women. All right. For instance, see it's a lot, especially on YouTube. A lot of times a woman will physically attack a man when the man is backing away, or when he doesn't want to fight, and a woman will attack him. And then when she gets knocked down, you'll see dudes in the audience talking about well, you shouldn't hit a woman. You should just took it or walked away. Well, sometimes you can't walk away, and this is just fighting in general. And those of you who have been in fights or you have been in combat, okay, you know that in combat, sometimes women and children are the ones wielding weapons. All right, so let's be realistic here and stop being white knights. Sentiment does not win wars. Sentiment does not build civilization. Sentiment does not solve societal issues. You may feel sentimental, but that is not the driving force behind solving the problem. You have to use logic, reasoning. You have to take a real solid look at reality in order to solve the problem. Okay? And, what white knights are attempting to do is to put women on a pedestal. Women should not be on a pedestal. You have to name some reason. If you disagree, you have to name some logical reasons why women should be placed on a pedestal. Women are not goddesses. I had another video called Pseudo Goddess Syndrome. I made a lot of women angry. And I made a lot of simps angry, a lot of white knights angry, because they're always trying to save women, especially black women. Especially these conscious dudes. They're always trying to save women. But if we look at a hardcore reality, or if we look at reality from a hardcore perspective, we're looking at things logically. Women can do wrong just like men. And sometimes they lack criticism. They lack personal accountability and corporate responsibility. That's a problem. The white knight, however, will have you thinking that women can do no wrong, or when women do wrong, they shouldn't be checked. That's false. That's totally false. In fact, it breaks all ancient law codes that I know of, because women can still be punished. I'm not just talking about even in Hebrew culture either. I'm talking about every culture that I've studied. You could be punished as a woman, especially for infidelity, especially for any type of sexual unchastity. I mean, you were severely punished. But see, that's the driving force behind women's control over men, is using their vagina. And ladies, you know this. So, I'm talking to the women too. But men, you have to have, as a man, you have to have total self-control over your personal economy, which includes how you relate to women. And I want to say this to the men: if you are interested in a woman and she is not on the same page as you, and you see this early on, because that's the whole point of getting to know a woman before even courtship. You want to find if she's on the same page. If she's not, don't beg for her attention. If she gets an attitude with you, don't beg for her attention. If she tells you, if she uses the phrase rather, I'm not going to do that, or I ain't into all that, leave her alone. If the woman is a hoe, or if she's whoring, okay, I'm sorry, some of you don't like the word hoe. So if she's out whoring, or if she's sleeping with any man who is not her husband, in other words, she is not a full wife or a concubine, you need to leave her alone. If she dates, you need to leave her alone. Because women who are serial daters, what they do, they generally expect a man to finance them for meals, just to have their attention and their company. But she's not doing anything in return to pay the man. She's not giving him anything. And most men will finance a woman when that's not his woman, in order to get sex from her. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just talking about a reality here. That's not cool. So if she demands anything from you as a man, I'm talking to the men still. If a woman makes demands on you, you do not need to spend any more time talking with her on the phone, spending time with her in person, or anything like that. I see too many men begging for a woman's attention. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. When he didn't do anything wrong. He just took a stand on things and she balked. She got an attitude. Men, we are the leaders of society. We are the ones who are supposed to set and maintain law and order in and outside the home. So stop simping. There's nothing wrong with you maintaining your stance on ethical and moral issues, maintaining your position when it comes to the plan that you've created for your present or future family. I'm going to say something again. If she is not on your page, do not deal with her. Lose her number. If she's a serial dater, don't do it. Because women who date a lot too, inevitably they end up sleeping with at least one of those men. Let's say if she's dated, say 10 men in the past 2 months, which this occurs a lot. She generally will end up sleeping with one of them, not necessarily on that date, but she will file in her head. She will mentally file, well, women emotionally file, who these men are, and they will choose the one or three that they like best, and they'll go out with them more than the others. Sometimes they'll cancel out those other men from her cipher, and then she'll date them until she finds the one. Some mystical, magical, monogamous man, which, doesn't exist. In fact, if all women want the best men always have multiple women. Always. Always. Ladies, I know y'all don't like hearing this, but they do. I know you think your husband of, say, 10 years, it's just been you and him, but I guarantee you he's had another woman in that time. This is a harsh reality, and, it's a difficult pill for y'all to swallow. However, it's the absolute 110% unadulterated truth, right? Another thing for the men, when you approach a woman, you find yourself interested in her, even if you plan on being monogamous, which, again, men are designed to be polygynous. Don't ever tell a woman, don't use the phrase, baby, it's just going to be me and you. Or no, I don't want to engage in polygyny. Don't ever tell a woman that, only because, reality check, you may choose just one woman, but somewhere down the line, you may eventually want another woman. You don't know what's going to happen down the line. Especially if you meet another woman who you think can fit into the family. Let a woman know that you're open to polygyny. Just say it like that. And maintain that stance. Maintain your position. Say that you're open to polygyny. But you may start out with just her. In fact, you may be with her for 15, 20 years. But what that does, it prevents you from being ashamed of wanting other women or desiring other women. Especially if you want them as a concubine. You may want to keep your main wife, which is wise. Don't divorce your wife just because you so-called supposedly love another woman. Don't do that. See, monogamous men run into that problem. Polygynous men never run into that problem. We'll have our wife, and if we like this other sister who is also single, remember, it's adultery if you're chasing after actually a married woman. She's not public property, then, you need to leave her alone. By public property, I mean that she's single, unmarried. Don't ever tell a woman it's gonna be you and her. Stop simping. You singing Usher songs and Keith Sweat, Brian McKnight. You playing that. You know what I'm saying? This is, especially those of you who have been talking to the sister for a minute and then she flakes, she backs out, or y'all split. You start listening to all these sad songs, or you start listening to some pseudo player stuff like, from Next or Jagged Edge or, somebody like that. People still playing all them groups, you know what I'm saying? But,